I hate this time of year. As you can see, it's completely dark out. It's only 9:30. But also, you can probably tell in my voice that my allergies have kicked it up into high gear. And when they do that, there is absolutely no stopping them. So, I have this fun to look forward to for the next couple of weeks. Anyway, that's not really the point of the video. Most of you who've been watching the channel over the last year will probably know that I've got this in my possession. Nothing fancy. It's just an HP computer. It's a little DC5800 SFF. Looks like it was even a refurbished PC. And it works. You can go ahead and watch the video. Yes, I paid way too much for it. But it does in fact work. But, again, that's not the point of the video. I found another one that's in exactly the same case. Looks a little bit worse for wear. But it's actually significantly newer. Or at least I think it is significantly newer. Might even be a little bit better, I don't know. But this is a DC7900. Looks like it's got the same 3-year warranty across the board. Somebody's removed the optical drive, but I didn't even really notice that it still has an 802.11n adapter. I'm not sure what manufacturer it is. But it's there. But the interesting thing about this machine is not that it's missing the optical drive, is that somebody chose, for whatever reason, that they were going to cut out the entirety of the rear panel, or almost the entirety of the rear panel. And why, I'm not even really sure, because it does not look like they would have really needed to do that for what's installed in here, which is a video card. In fact, I'm actually kind of surprised this thing would even take a video card, because I was always under the impression that that slot was just what they call an add to slot, which would basically let you add a DVI port to the onboard video and nothing more. But, well, maybe it even works, I don't know. But, we'll go ahead and we'll pop the cover here and take a look at what's inside. You can see there, now that I've popped the cover, that's what I paid for it, quite a bit less. I'm surprised it's so cheap, because if we take a look inside here, even though the optical drive is removed, it still has a 160 gigabyte hard drive installed. Of course, there's no asking whether or not that actually works, or if it even has anything useful on it. For some reason, it looks like they also removed the SATA cable, so I'm going to have to find one of those that'll fit in the system. RAM slots are fully populated. Interesting to see what those are. There's a pair of 1 gigabyte modules. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 4 gigs installed in here, that it came from the factory with 2. The other thing that I am going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and pull this out, because it's not of a whole lot of use to me. What is this? Holy crap. Well, that's not exactly all that old. That's a GT 1030. It's only got 2 gigs of RAM, but I mean, hey. Probably not a bad little card. It's digital only, and the HDMI port looks a little mangled, but well, I could probably find something to do with this if it happens to work. Taking that out has just revealed another curiosity that I've got. There's a pair of, what looks like a pair of X16 PCI Express slots. Now, obviously, you probably couldn't use both of them as X16 at the same time. But I'm kind of curious. No, see, that one says X4 right there. So it looks like, even though it's got all 16 pins, that it's only an X4 electrically. It does have a PCI slot, which is pretty nice. And my guess is that that's probably why this rear panel was cut out, was so that you could actually use proper cards. But I don't know. I would have thought that there'd actually be proper slots in the back of this. Something else about this system that I've noticed, now that I've got the cover off, is there's supposed to be a little plastic baffle that goes in front of this fan to direct airflow over top of the CPU. Seems to be missing. There's also, looks like, a little bit of corrosion damage at the back there. So I'm hoping that that's not going to hinder the operation of the system. It looks like this uses at least a somewhat standard power supply, unlike some of the other HP computers that I've looked at. And let's see, does it call out what that is? I'm just trying to look and see if I can figure out what some of these empty ports are used for. I can't really read what that one says. The one that's beside the power supply connection. Unless maybe it's for a parallel port. That would be my guess. I suppose it would be for the parallel port, which this does not have on the back panel. Is that a floppy connector? It looks like a floppy connector right there. I'm kind of surprised something this new has got a floppy connection, but there's no IDE. That says media right there, but that's almost certainly a USB connection. That would have been for a configured-to-order front panel card reader. So it is kind of tempting to maybe add a floppy drive to this. Probably the only DC7900 in existence that's got a floppy drive. At least one of the small form factor ones. And imagine that most of them, if they came with anything, they would have come with the card reader. Looks like this wire, yeah, that goes into the power supply. So this little fan connection is actually for speed monitoring and control, I presume, of the power supply fan. So, I don't think there's too much else I can think of to point out about the system. I think I've already pointed out what there is to see. So I'm going to put the cover back on. We'll plug this thing in and see if it actually works. Okay, I've got it hooked up in the trash vortex that is my work area right now. Really need to work on cleaning this up, especially as we move into October. We certainly start to make headways into November, when this garage space is going to have to end up getting used for car storage as opposed to what it's being used for now. So, got to start wrapping up some of these projects. I was pleased to see that this thing actually has, honest to goodness, PS2 ports, which is something that the Dells of the time were doing their level best to get rid of. So there is the one serial port. It's got audio. There's a DisplayPort connection. Looks like 6 USB ports and onboard Ethernet. Let's plug in the power. No, it doesn't power on immediately. Doesn't even work at all. Yeah, we got power. Hey! I believe it is F10 to get into setup. Looks like we have ourselves a winner. E6850. That's not too bad. Now, I would have liked to see a Wolfdale chip, but it's still more than good enough. And we do, in fact, have 4 gigs of RAM. So, not bad. Not bad at all. Hard drive is seen. It's in AHCI mode. don't know if there would be anything in there. One of the other fun things that these systems will do is they'll allow you to control the fan speed straight from setup. And some of them will even, most of the ones I've worked with, will actually let you do this without rebooting the system. Unfortunately, it looks like this is not one of the fun ones. So we'll just leave that alone. And I think we're probably good enough to just go ahead and ignore and exit and see what this starts up into. If anything, it might have been erased. Nope. Windows 7. Which is about what I expected to find. Either Windows 7, Windows 10, or nothing. That's how it usually is these days. It's very quiet. Certainly will not win any awards for speed. Well, that's doing something weird. And it looks like it's got a password on it. Now, I've got ways around that. See if this actually happens to work. Edit user data. Let's see. Does it have SQL on it? Let me do some password resetting here, and we'll see where we go from there. Now, depending upon what this does next, I may have to stop the video. Because I have no idea what could possibly be stored on this system. That's just the mouse. Could have completely borkinicated it. Well, it looks like it's going to at least try and load. Please don't do something racy. Well, I've seen worse on computers. The taskbar is unlocked. I wonder if somebody was using this for streaming. You know, games and such like. And doing video editing. That seems like, excuse me, that seems like something that, would be a bit much for a computer like this. I think this would be a little bit old for that, but... I don't know. Adobe Creative Cloud needed to resolve the problem is missing or damaged. Oh no. That looks like Twitch. You know, that's something having to do with Twitch. I don't really care about creative crap anyway. Wow, this thing is loading a lot of junk. Holy crap, what is going on here? Windows thinks that everything else is so much more important than what I'm doing. Reminds me of Windows XP in a way. Well, it's not hard to see why this thing got donated to a thrift store. Oh, now the background just changed. Oh, that's okay. Again, I've seen worse on computers, so... we'll let this thing catch up to itself and see what happens. Maybe I am selling this thing a little bit short as far as performance is concerned. So, I'm not sure why that's showing up on it as a network location, but look at this. Holy crap. Wow. I cannot believe that this thing is still working with that little hard drive space. No safe password or anything, which kind of makes me wonder. It hasn't brought up anything about the network. So I wonder if it's, what's going on here? Okay, that's not even what I really wanted. One of the properties. Is this running a 32 or a 64-bit version of Windows? No, it's 64-bit, and it looks like it's the original factory build. Wow. Probably all kinds of screwed up. But there's no antivirus on it. It's probably got like about 6 pieces of ransomware on it, too. I don't know who owned this. I have no idea. Can't really say much. Oh, geez. Yep, so now my mouse is no longer really working. Oh, wow. Voice meter. Got a couple of blank icons. I don't know what that is. This is probably the Wi-Fi. That would be my guess. Focus, please. That's some Intel thing, and then I don't know what that is either. Well, it just brought up Discord. Update failed. Well, gee, you know, I wonder why. Can I close out of that? I don't want somebody's Discord username popping up on this video because I don't want to have to do too much editing. But yeah, there's a lot of crap on here. So, what I'll probably end up doing... Now watch, this is probably going to be a mistake to go into Firefox and look at the browsing history, but... I can't imagine that there's too much in the way. That looks like pirated software right there. Of course, I'm probably the only person in the world who's ever bought anything Sony Vegas related. Most people don't bother. Well, there's certainly stuff in the bookmarks, but I don't know. I'm sure this person is probably like a fairly popular Minecraft streamer or something, and I'm just not knowledgeable as to who they are because, quite honestly, I don't really care for Minecraft. So, I want somebody's Google Drive in here. I hope there's no saved passwords. I really hope that there's no saved passwords. It's not on my network, so it's not like it even really matters, but anything too interesting. I'm going to get rid of this animated background because I'm sure it's not helping the computer performance. If I can even get rid of this animated background, I don't know what's in charge of it. There's something running that's giving me an animated background, but anyway. So, what is this? Let's open it up and see what happens. Vegas Pro. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's pirated. Of course, this is a new enough version that was released after Magic Software bought Vegas from Sony. I should probably get a newer version of my video editor program, but of course I'm going to buy it. I'm not going to pirate it. There's really no point. The cheaper versions that I would end up using, I'm not going to buy Vegas Pro. I'm not going to use all the features. Movie Studio Platinum is more than enough. What on earth is going on here? How on earth are they supposed to use it like this? You can't even see the video preview window. I guess they had a larger monitor. That would probably make a whole lot of sense. Let's see if we can get some of this crap out of the way. Oh, would you look at that? Sideways video, because everybody thinks that's cool. Fortunately, I don't think either the system doesn't have an onboard speaker or it doesn't work, because there's no sound. At least, I haven't heard any sound yet. And it looks like this thing is doing real well at playing that. Probably gonna get this video blitzed by the copyright mafia here in a minute. Just browsing around at stuff. Anyway, screenshots, etc., etc. I did want to look at the device manager just to see if there was anything interesting that was missing, which there's not. Wow, it doesn't even say what it is. 802.11n USB wireless LAN card. So I'll probably have to go look up that PCI vendor ID. I should not have to resort to that, but... oh, whatever. MediaTek. Yeah, that's cheap crap. Probably doesn't work worth a damn. But yet another reason why it would have been donated to the thrift store. Q45 chipset. Other than that, probably not much it's really worth looking at. Seems like the hardware roster is a little bare, but maybe that's just normal. Windows Experience Index needs to be refreshed. Yeah, I don't really care. I'm not keeping this installed in Windows anyway. Probably because the graphics have changed. I'm sure if I refresh this, which, you know what, let's just do it. Okay, yeah, you can see there it went quite a ways down from the 7.6 that both of those were at. Rather amazingly, OBS will actually open on whatever onboard video this has. And I was able to find a Twitch stream key that they left behind, but it doesn't really say anything about whose channel it is. I'm not about to go and try and stream something and find it, because, you know, I have standards. They might be low, but I do have them. And I'm not about to do that and get some random person on the internet riled up at me. So we're just going to go ahead and we'll close out of all of this. I'm going to shut this down. I'll probably hook it up to my restricted network, offload all the files, and then this install of Windows is just going to get nuked from orbit, because I'm sure being the factory build, it's all kinds of screwed up. I didn't see a piece of antivirus software on there, so I don't know if it's running antivirus or not. I guess in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter, does it? So, we'll see. I'll have to do something with it, because I'm not keeping that installed. Stay tuned, where I will figure out what I'm going to do with this thing.